What up, Laker Nation? It's your boy DTLF back with another video, man. As today we got plenty to talk about. I always like to let these topics just kind of start settling in. I really could have made individual video for each topic, but I rather let them pile up and then just come with the damage right quick. So today, the rumor mill is going wild. What's up, Bless Brian? What's up, everybody? Rumor mill going nuts. All right, the summer hasn't even started, and we're already hearing Zach LaVine rumors to the Lakers. We're already hearing the Lakers have a favorite candidate for the coaching job. We're hearing so many amazing things that I'm just like, wow, like it's gonna be interesting to see what actually once the smoke clears up, how we look in the end of all these things. But I'm here to break down everything. What's realistic? Are we trading Westbrook? How our cap situation is looking? All kinds of stuff. I'm gonna look at some of the free agents and stuff like that, and how the Lakers can make things work. So without further ado, let's get right into it. All right. So first and foremost, guys, great to see you guys again. Mavs vs. Warriors, I'm not watching it, man. Honestly, the second round of the playoffs have been boring, with the exception of maybe one or two games. And so I'm just going to wait till these. I'll tune in a little bit to the Heat Celtics. But other than that, yeah, that Mavs series has not been fun to watch. But yes, listen, I want to talk about the cap situation because there's a lot of confusion on what we can and cannot do. We hear Zach LaVine and people all of a sudden, like our ears perk up and we get all excited. All right. With the salary cap currently projected at 119 mil this season, right? This summer. And that's actually quite the jump. The Lakers currently will have no cap space in the next offseason, this free agency period, as we are currently constructed. Why? Well, just amongst the top three players that we have, Russell Westbrook, 47.1 million, making him the highest paid player on the team. LeBron James, assuming he opts in, LeBron James 44.5 and AD 37.9. If you do the math, that already puts us at 129. So we're already over the salary cap. We will have a couple of exceptions and bird rights, and we can go over the cap to re-sign our own players and stuff like that. However, if we're talking about other free agents, nearly impossible to, ink anybody of value. However, there is a good news, guys. We're hearing about all this Russell Westbrook trade drama, and is he tradable? Magic Johnson wanted him to be here. Phil Jackson wanted him to be here. The new coach might be able to use him a little bit better. All this stuff. And this is what I think is interesting, right? Russell Westbrook had a poor season for the Lakers. However, if he was on another team, he'd still have a decent amount of trade value just based off of the numbers that he put up this season, right? Now, he had low shooting percentages all across the board, but he still put up close to what he usually averages. Look, here's the thing. He averaged 3.8 turnovers per game this season. His career average is 4.1, believe it or not, so a little bit lower than usual. And he shot 29.8% from behind the line, which, of course, we know is horrible. But his career average is 30.5. So if we're looking at stats, maybe another team can regenerate him and get the most out of him. 20 point per game. Throughout his career, he's been close to 20 point per game scorer. And it's not like he's really fallen off the face. However, he just doesn't fit in his team. So then you do the math. You're like, okay. So if he doesn't fit on his team, but he still put up decent numbers, how is it that we still have to give up a first-round pick just to salary dump him, right? Here's what it is, man. You guys know this. If you've been a long-time Laker fan like yours truly, you understand that there's such a thing called the Lakers tax. The haters will never admit it. But for some reason, we always have to end up giving up more in trades than other teams. You saw what the Clippers gave up for Norman Powell. You saw what other teams give up for CJ McCollum to the Pelicans. Like nothing too crazy, right? However, if the Lakers would want Zach LaVine, who is out on the rumor mill right now, I guarantee you there is a possibility of making that happen. First and foremost, looking at the free agent tracker, Zach LaVine is going to be an unrestricted free agent. All right, now the team does have his bird rights, and they can, pay him the most, being the Bulls. But if he really doesn't want to be there, there's several avenues the Lakers could actually take to acquire him if he picks us in free agency. Avenue number one, we seek a sign and trade with either the Bulls or a third team to facilitate. That way the Bulls don't come out empty-handed and end up with like a first round pick or two out of this whole ordeal. That can happen. We can literally do Russell Westbrook in a first round pick plus 2 seconds for Zach LaVine. That way they at least keep 3 picks instead of just letting them walk for free, right? So it's really going to be up to Zach LaVine and what he wants to do. And then if Zach LaVine truly means what he said today, which, by the way, if you guys were living under the rock or were busy working or whatever, then you should know that Zach LaVine basically didn't deny the LeVar Ball rumors. He said Lonzo's his friend. You know, he scoffed a little bit. And then when TMZ asked him if he had any messages for the Laker fans, he basically said he's always been a big fan. So he's not, simmering down these rumors by saying stuff like that. And I'm going to tell you right now, there is a way that we can make that happen. People are saying, Dan, well, don't get the fans excited. Don't feed them any lies, any wolf tickets. I'm not. I'm literally telling you, if Zach LaVine chooses the Lakers for free agency, the Lakers will go through every avenue to make that happen. If the Bulls want to be stubborn and they don't want to deal with the Lakers and be like, if he walks, he walks, which I don't know why they would do that. They get nothing out of that. Then that would be the hardest particular way to do it. But the Lakers could also do a trade with somebody else to clear that cap space, take in a trade exception or something, and then maybe potentially sign Zach LaVine again. I'm no salary cap expert, but there's ways of doing it, right? And not to mention, we actually have a couple first-round picks we could trade. So there is that. Now, again, in order for this to happen, Zach LaVine will have to come to the Lakers and say, hey, I want to be a Laker, make it happen. And then the Lakers would have to figure it out, right? This is where Rob Pelinka gets paid the big bucks. He used to be an agent. He's a salary cap expert. He can find ways to maneuver it. He's done it before by clearing cap for LeBron James when we had Mozgov and Deng's contract, right? Stretched Lil Deng, traded Mozgov, and gave up D'Angelo Russell in order to do that, and so on and so forth. So bottom line is, yes, where there is a will, there is a way. However, Zach LaVine could just be teasing us, and he could end up going somewhere like the Hawks for all we know. There's been rumors of linking him there and saying he's going to be a running backcourt mate to Trae Young. Like we've been here before where we speculate on something, we hope for it, and we end up getting deceived by it. Kawhi Leonard did it to us. Paul George did it to us. So it's happened before, guys. But like I said, another avenue could be if, and I doubt this will happen, but if let's just say that LeBron James and Anthony Davis restructure their contracts so that, maybe they take a little bit of a pay cut, or maybe Anthony Davis gets some more money on the back end of the contract instead of the front end. And that way you can make money. You can make space for Zach LaVine on top of the Russell Westbrook trade. I mean, there's going to be avenues. Bottom line is this. Yes, Zach LaVine is a part of Clutch, and they can maneuver that. Not to mention, yes, the kid is good looking, right? According to a lot of ladies out there. And he's going to make a lot of money off of commercials if he comes to the Lakers. So you have to think about that. He might exceed whatever he makes from the Bulls, even with the bird rights, right? He might pop up in a couple of movies, a couple of music videos, a couple of commercials, right? You just never know. So there's a dime a dozen, tons of opportunities with the Lakers, especially if you win. Those sponsorships are going to go through the roof if you win for the Lakers. Just ask Anthony Davis. As soon as he got here to Los Angeles, he got to deal with Ruffles. He was on the Space Jams movie, so on and so forth. So, yes, Zach LaVine is a possibility. Don't hold your breath for it, but just stay optimistic, Laker Nation, and just know that this could be interesting if Zach LaVine picks us. Now, that being said, do I expect it to happen? Not at all. I think there's a higher chance of landing Kyrie than Zach LaVine personally. We already heard the rumors. Now, if you guys haven't heard again, I'm here to recap it. That Sean Marks and Rob Pelinka have met behind closed doors, right behind the scenes at the NBA Draft Combine, and have spoken about God knows what. But, I mean, come on. Isn't it obvious? Right? Isn't it obvious? So there could be a chance that my boy Kyrie lands with the Lakers, but a lot of smoothing over would have to be done, right, for that to happen. So again, man, this offseason is just starting to get heated, and I'm here, man. I'm the chef. I'm in the kitchen for y'all, man. I'm cooking. So everything that gets thrown our way, I'm gonna dissect it. We talked about Zach LaVine. We talked about all that other stuff. We're gonna talk about some other stuff as well, the coaching rumors and all that. What's up, Kevin? Good to see you, man. Good to see you, brother. He said Kyrie or Ben. No clue which one, but Lakers could definitely maneuver something. We're going to have to try different stuff. All right. I wanted to look at the free agent list just in case the Lakers could somehow salary dump Russell Westbrook in a trade or something. Now, rumor has it that the Lakers do not want to give up a first-round pick, right? Rumor has it that teams don't want to do us any favors, and they can smell the blood in the water like sharks, and they're trying to go for the kill. They're going for the jugular. And I'll say this. I think the Lakers are playing their cards the right way because so far we're manipulating the media to think we're keeping Russell Westbrook. Now, if we keep him, a lot of people are going to be upset. However, I will not. And let me explain why. I feel Russell Westbrook, under new coach, maybe he might play better, maybe he won't. That's not my concern. My thing is, we're not doing John Wall in a first-round pick for Russell Westbrook. You better throw in something valuable if I'm giving up a first-round pick. So in that sense, Lakers have the right mentality. And again, Laker tax coming into effect. Teams want to rip us off. First of all, we already lost the Russell Westbrook trade when we gave up Trez, a first-round pick, Kyle Kuzma, and KCP. We shouldn't even have given up half of that. But you notice how as soon as he landed with the Lakers, we have a bad year. Now, all of a sudden, he has no trade value after we gave up all of that. So again, Laker tax is real, but the Lakers have to be intelligent. We don't have to pay the tax. Forget about what LeBron fans tell you, man. And it's not that we don't want LeBron to succeed, but maybe, just maybe, the new coach will implement Russell Westbrook heavy, and he might get his stats up, and you might trade him during the first quarter of the season before the trade deadline. And actually get something halfway decent from him instead of getting ripped off, man. So you, as Laker fans, I see a lot of fans. I'm not sure if they're real Laker fans, but they're trashing our front office, this, and that. We're fans, right? We have opinions, but at the end of the day, we don't know what's going on behind those closed doors and why they're making the decisions they are. Lakers are not dumb. All right, they're looking to get the best deal out of it. We gambled on the Russell Westbrook trade and we lost. The last thing you want to do when you go to the casino and you gamble and you lose, the last thing you want to do is push all your chips to the middle of the table and gamble again. Take your L, get your ass home before you go broke and end up losing the mortgage, right? That's where the Lakers are right now. We don't want to lose the mortgage, guys. We don't want to give up all our first-round picks just to get John Wall back. That's not going to fly. You understand? Yes, we want to win championships. Yes, we want to maximize LeBron and Anthony Davis' chance of winning championships, but we don't want to get swindled along the way because of that and because they smell blood in the water. Now, this all might be smoke, right? They're blowing up our ass. It could just be smoke, and we could end up actually making the trade as soon as he opts in. Maybe they already have one lined up. We don't know about it. Remember, Rob Pelinka is a shark. He keeps everything behind closed doors. So maybe they have something already in hand, and here we are speculating and panicking about all these rumors. Don't be so gullible, all right? People, sometimes Bill Plaschke, these guys, they're not really connected to the Lakers. They just write articles because they have the credentials, right? They have the name, LA Times, The Athletic. Like, they have the name and the credentials, so they're going to use it to get clickbait. Everybody knows everybody wants to talk about the Lakers, man. That's all they want to talk about. But they should at least, journalism should at least be well-respected, and it should be to the point where it has a lot of truth and maybe a little bit of exaggeration, but instead it's the opposite. It's a lot of bit of exaggeration, no sources, trust me, bro, trust me, and stuff like that. But in reality, this is why I'm here to break it down for y'all, man. A leverage move, absolutely, Kevin. He said, I would love to trade cash and considerations for a second rounder for maybe Cam Reddish when the Knicks don't want him. Yeah, if we can get Cam Reddish, Lakers have been known to get players like him who haven't made a career for themselves yet and polish him up really nice, just like Trevor Ariza and guys like that. Remember, people forget we got Trevor Ariza from the Orlando Magic, where he got drafted by the Knicks, traded to the Magic, and then traded to the Lakers, where he finally realized his potential, right? But again, Lakers have to be extremely intelligent. Now, if somehow they come off of that Russell Westbrook contract, it's probably because they already agreed with somebody. Now, here's what's interesting to me. John Wall has a player option. I don't care. He's injury prone. That's the last thing we need. I don't mind him as a player when he's healthy, but he's injury prone. James Harden has a player option. Keep this man far away from the Lakers, man. He doesn't have the heart to be a champion. I think it would be a similar situation to Russell Westbrook, where it's a big name, not enough production. Bradley Beal player option. Again, it's not attainable unless he absolutely wants to be here. But rumor has it he's about to extend for $250 million plus, so that's what I expect to happen. Kyrie Irving has a player option. Now, this is where it starts getting interesting. Kyrie Irving player option. Can they rekindle the flame? If he opts out, will he even consider the Lakers? And if he does, will LeBron James open his arms to him? And if that happens, will he respect the coach? I mean, Kyrie has a ton of question marks. But I feel like he's the type of gamble that's well worth it, man, because he's the opposite of Russell Westbrook in a sense. Russell Westbrook was durable, but not very usable within this offense, right? Very stagnant with him on the floor. Kyrie, it would be the complete opposite, guys. You put Kyrie in this offense, spacing the floor like a mother, man. You don't understand. Like Kyrie in this offense is just gonna take you to the next level. And they already have the chemistry with him and LeBron. And of course, I've been said this. I'm a big Kyrie fan skill wise, but he's not a leader. He showed it in Boston. He showed it in Brooklyn. He needs a leader. LeBron James is a real leader. Shout out to Joseph for the cash app. Brother said for sign and trade can start going down in free agency. Yes. Yeah. I mean, technically, trades can happen now. When your team is out of the playoffs, I believe they can make a move right now. So, yeah, but again, back to free agents. Where was I? Okay, Kyrie. To me right now, he's a little bit more realistic than Zach LaVine, but Zach LaVine would be a dream as long as his knees are good. We heard about he's about to have knee surgery and all that. Now, Ricky Rubio, I think, is an interesting, serviceable backup if he takes a veteran's minimum. I would not mind having him. He's a very good playmaker off the bench, and he could even start a couple of games. All right, he's an unrestricted free agency. He's somebody I like. Andre Iguodala, we know he's a lifelong warrior. He's had his chance to come here and he passed, so I'll pass as well. Thaddeus Young, not bad. We do need more wings and more depth there. You see the playoffs, man, extremely successful with the wings. You see what the Warriors and the Celtics are doing with their wings and so on and so forth. So, this is all interesting to me. The way free agency could play out. We have no idea in what direction we're going. This is all pure speculation. He said, hi, Dan. I'm sure you would like both Malcolm Brogdon and Buddy Hield, but if you had to choose one or the other, who would you like, Malcolm Brogdon or Buddy Hield? I like Brogdon because he's a two-way guard, defensive and offensive. So I'd pick him, but I'm not complaining if we get Buddy Hield. Juan says, hi, Dan. I'm a big fan. Appreciate you, Juan. He said, would you consider Klay Thompson, Andrew Wiggins for LeBron? Not at all. Not even, no. And I'll tell you why. LeBron James is a once-in-a-generational talent. Anytime you have him, as long as you're healthy and you have the right coaching, you have a chance to win a championship. Can't say the same for the other two players you mentioned. So, no. If I'm trading LeBron, it's only because he requested a trade, and it better have some first-round picks involved for future players, right? And hopefully lottery picks. So, yeah, I'm not doing that, Juan. Appreciate you, brother, for the question. He said the way it can work is Russ, 2 second-round picks to Detroit for Jeremy Grant to the Bulls and Zach LaVine to LA. Yes. That is exactly what I'm talking about, bro. That is a great trade proposal. And this is what I'm saying. If Zach LaVine makes up his mind and he wants to be a Laker, he will be a Laker. I promise you that. The moves and the parts and the background stuff can always work itself out. Trust me. But that's the key. Is Zach LaVine playing with our emotions as Laker fans? Because I'm not holding my breath for him. I'm not at all. You know what I'm saying? But if he's serious about it, heck yeah. Open up the gates, man. Open up the pearly white gates because we're going straight to heaven, straight to a championship with Zach LaVine here. Now, granted, we still need the role players, still need the size, some more wing depth, all that good stuff. But, oh, my God, it would be night and day, the contrast between Russell Westbrook and Zach LaVine, right? It would be such a difference maker. All right, let's look at a couple more free agents. So we ended it with Thaddeus Young. Joe Ingles is also unrestricted free agent, but that's, he's making around the $13 million price range, so I don't expect us to be able to afford him. Now we're looking at players like Taurean Prince. Depends on what type of core you build. You never know what type of guys will take a pay cut. I would love to have Joseph Nurkic, also unrestricted free agent, but again, will the man take a pay cut? He's currently making $12 million. We can afford nowhere near that. Nowhere near that. The most we can give is like about $5 million. Which is a mid-level exception, I believe. You also have TJ Warren. Now, he had a horrible injury, and he was out for the year. But let me tell you something. If TJ Warren could come back healthy, and that's a big if, I would definitely take a flyer on this man. This man was a hooper when he was with the Phoenix Suns. But we'll see. He said, who knows, bro? It's kind of weird that LeVar Ball would just say all that randomly. Listen, I have no clue why LeVar Ball said it. I mean, he really has nothing to gain as far as the Lakers. We traded his son away, so he could just be trolling or he could just be being honest, Who knows? Bottom line is Zach LaVine didn't deny any of the rumors to TMZ, so I think that's interesting. At the very least, it was worth the topic of conversation for sure. Now, here's the thing, and this could definitely be a factor in who we end up landing in free agency or via trade or whatever. This always matters. It's a players' league. Remember this, guys. LeBron James, clearly Zach LaVine is part of Clutch. You know they got to be talking. You know they got to be connected. If LeBron wants him here, he will be here, especially if Zach agrees. Not only that, guys, but what coach are we going to hire? And is it somebody that these free agents like? If it's like let's say Darvin Ham is that guy, and the rumors are true that he's well respected and just a great overall locker room guy and players love him. That might be the difference between a Zach LaVine in free agency and a Kyrie Irving or Taurean Prince, and a bunch of different role players. So I think this move that the Lakers are currently pondering on is crucial to the next 5 to 6 years of our franchise. We better hire the right guy for coach, man. No excuses. They got to do their due diligence. I'm glad they have it down to 3, but please, I really hope it's Darvin Ham. All right, based on what I'm hearing, this guy is phenomenal. Bro, do you actually think Westbrook is going to get moved? Because I don't see it happening. I think LeBron, AD, and Westbrook back with better role players around them 100. I think it depends on multiple things. Like I said, the coaching matters, but also what type of offers are out there. If people are trying to swindle us, there's no way the Lakers should move him. They should hold on to him, let us either contract expire or trade him at the trade deadline. Bottom line, we can't be suckers, man. That's the bottom line. But right now, yeah, it's looking like we're going to hold on to him for the near future. But again, who knows? Because this Laker front office has kept everything close, and eventually when they made moves, they dropped the hammer just like that. So it's a wait and see approach for me. I hope he does get dealt, but I hope we get the right trade in peace. Now, like I said, if Zach LaVine commits to us, he's definitely getting moved. And the Lakers will probably give up whatever it takes to make that space for Zach LaVine. We've seen Rob do it before to make space for LeBron James. We've seen him do it before, so it's not, it's not out of the reach. He said, prayers up for Texas and all the affected in today's elementary school shooting. Yeah, man, prayers up for the families. Enough is enough, America. All right, we got to teach our children better. We got to monitor these little motherfuckers, man. We got to make sure 18-year-olds out here killing children, man. We got to be better, all right, as human beings, period. We got to spread more love instead of hate. We got to make sure that the next man is doing all right, and mentally everybody has to be taken care of because this is not good. So, again, prayers up for the families, and it's a shame, man. It's such a shame that this country has just so much unnecessary violence. Darvin Ham, wait, what? He said Darvin Ham is not guaranteed. Why they haven't announced it? Why are they waiting for Doc? Those are rumors, man. The Doc Rivers rumors, those are rumors, my friend. I don't think anybody wants Doc Rivers. I think these people writing articles, they're definitely clickbaiting the crap out of you. You got to be careful with that because every summer there's crazy rumors left and right. And I'd say maybe 1% of those rumors usually come true every offseason. Maybe more, 3% or something like that. But usually nothing you hear is what ends up happening. Like the summer that we hired Frank Vogel, nobody thought Frank Vogel was going to be the guy. His name didn't even pop up on the list. And boom, out of the blue, boom, Lakers finalizing deal with Frank Vogel after an interview. We all thought we had Monty Williams or Ty Lue, right? So be careful what you read and just take it with a grain of salt. This is why I don't make daily videos because a lot of these rumors are bogus. But if it's stuff worth talking about, then y'all know where to find me for sure. No Doc Rivers. Absolutely not, brother. Thanks for the donation. So do you think they will look at Doc Rivers if he gets out of the contract? I'm not sure, but the rumor that everybody's presuming is the reason we haven't hired a coach, that the Lakers still holding out for Doc Rivers, clearly isn't true. Woj and Shams already reported that we're down to 3 finalists. So I expect one of those 3 to be the head coach and announced shortly, right? It might be making final rounds of interviews or whatever. We might hear something tonight, tomorrow, any day now. But bottom line is, again, believe everything with a grain of salt because not everybody has sources. Some people just need the clicks and the attention, right? If I had a check mark on Twitter, I could probably create false rumors and people will believe it just because I have a check mark. Not saying I would do that because I'm the people's champ and I like nothing but the truth, right? But at the end of the day, like I said, not everybody has good intentions. So just be careful, He said, why are the Lakers waiting? We don't know. If I could be a fly on the wall, man, if I could morph into one just to go and listen, trust me, I'm that much of a diehard. I would morph and I'd hover above their conversations and all that good stuff. But we don't know, brother. Right now, at this point, we have a wait and see approach. As fans, all we can do is, just twiddle our thumbs and hope for the best outcome, right? We get Darvin Ham, we're going to be over the moon. We're going to be excited. We're going to have high expectations. We get one of these other guys, and we're going to be pessimistic a little bit, but kind of like, well, I'm going to be open-minded to whatever it is, right? I have trust in Jeannie Buss still. I know a lot of people have turned on her as if she didn't win a championship 2 years ago, right? But look, this is what I'm going to say, man. People that say the bubble championship was just a bubble championship, I always ask them two questions. Number one is, did you watch it? Right? And if you did, then that means you were emotionally invested, right? And matter of fact, that was some of the best basketball in the playoffs we've seen in years, even more competitive than the one we're watching now, right? Because athletes were just training, practicing, staying in their hotel, no distractions, and straight dedication and passion, especially because, the bubble was made because of the pandemic. So that was a time in history where everybody had to buckle down and focus on what was important. And I'm not sure we'll ever get that type of highly competitive basketball ever again, man, because let's be honest, man, these playoffs have been kind of weak sauce at times. This second round hasn't been the most exciting. Can't say that about the bubble. Every round was exhilarating, man. So at the end of the day, look, just ask people this, people that discredit our bubble championship. Did you watch? Yeah? Then you were invested. Then shut up. Because if your team would have won, you would have been celebrating. And if they say no, then you can't comment on the bubble championship because you didn't watch. Either way, it's a loss for them, man. If they're hating, they're taking L's. Hi, Dan. Are you confident, someone confident or less confident the Lakers will find a way to trade Russell Westbrook this season? I am somewhat confident because of the Lakers tax. As I mentioned earlier in the video, there is such a thing called the Lakers tax. We tend to pay more for trades, sadly, while others get away with ripping off and stuff like that. Hey, we've had Popovich, we have had Popovich trying to, block trades off of us. So that tells you everything you need to know about how everybody hates us, man. The Nets and LA talks about Kyrie and maybe Rob. Well, LeBron James, AD will talk to Kyrie. Look, I really hope that happens, but I'll say the same thing about Kyrie. As much as I love him, once you become the Laker, man, he has to drop the ego, whatever it is. He has to put the team in front of himself and his own personal accolades, which is something Russell Westbrook did not do. If he can do that successfully, then I am all for it, man. I am definitely all for it because I love me some focused version of Kyrie Irving. He's one of my favorite players, man. A lot of people say, rightfully so, he's probably one of the most skilled players of all time. Rightfully so. So that tells you everything you need to know about him. However, if he's not focused, yeah, a lot of people are not going to want him, man. A lot of people are not going to want him because, because of the past. So, let's just hope that he gets a new beginning here, and I'd be ecstatic for that. How many of you guys say yes to Kyrie Irving alongside LeBron? We've seen it work before. And how many of you say no? So, bro, I went crazy during that playoffs. It was great. The bubble championship was one of the best I've ever seen. It was so amazing, man. So amazing. Very highly competitive. How many 50-point games did these stars not drop? That tells you how exciting it was. How many games went into overtime when we're down to the buzzer? I mean, just exciting, man. We haven't had too many of those. The first round was probably the most exciting in this year's playoffs. Hopefully the finals will be more exciting because it's been blowout after blowout. I'm not sure I'm not sure I like that very much. I like close games, especially if my team's not in it. The only way I like a blowout is if my team is on the winning side of that. But outside of that, man, I want to see good competitive basketball. You said AD and Russ for Zach and Lonzo? Never. That's way too much, man. You're giving up AD. You're undervaluing him. Anthony Davis is worth more than that, believe it or not. Look, the only way I'm trading AD is if he requests a trade, and if he wants to go to the Bulls, you got to give me Vucevic, you got to give me Lonzo, and you got to give me Zach for me to even pick up the phone. That's how I feel about the once-in-a-generational talent, Anthony Davis. And I'm not going to be a prisoner of recency bias because, yes, he's been injured lately, but we saw what he can do in that bubble. He can be one of the top two best players in the world when he wants to. So he's that good. And I'd rather hold on to him and gamble with his health than, settle for guards who might never lead you to a championship, especially if you don't have an elite big. Elite bigs matter. I mean, look at Dallas, for example. I told you guys about this size stuff, right? And even though they got away with it versus Phoenix, they're not getting away with it, man. They got Wiggins looking like Will Chamberlain out here, man, getting rebounds and stuff. So they're not getting away with it from with the Warriors. Clearly have more size, more depth at the wing position, and it's showing. So in the playoffs, especially when you're deep in the waters, you need that size. And so one thing I would say about Darvin Ham, if we hire him, I'd be excited because he's coming from the coaching tree of Bud, right? I always butcher his last name, but the head coach of the Bucks basically loves to play big, and he loves to use his size and his mismatches and all that. That's how they won the championship last year. So I would love that. Nothing more than that for the Lakers. If we can exploit teams with our size. I mean, Anthony Davis and LeBron already do that, but if you have more, if you get more size, let's say we get a Mo Bamba or we get a Nerlens Noel or something like that via trade or signing or whatever, this coach will definitely know how to use that to his advantages. So again, heading over to the comment section, let's see. He said, yes, Kyrie would be a great. No, because he said he would retire. He said, especially when the Clippers got eliminated in the second round in the bubble. He said, for real, people act like AD is worth a bag of chips. I'm not trading him unless it's another all-star and a first-round pick. Exactly, man. Look at everything we gave up for Anthony Davis. And since then, he's become a champion. So I think the trade value is the same or better. We gave up a star player in Brandon Ingram. We gave up multiple first-round picks. We gave up Lonzo Ball, who's a borderline all-star. If it wasn't for all his injuries, he'd probably already be a borderline all-star, but he's one of the better defenders in this league. Like, we gave up Josh Hart, a very formidable role player, even though he's a little cuckoo because he hates in and out. But, we gave up a lot just to get Anthony Davis. So why is his value so low? Is it because he's a Laker? Because I promise you, they were calling us crazy when we thought we had enough to get him, and he was on the Pelicans. Don't ever forget that, Laker Nation. Don't let the media brainwash you and make you think that our players have no value just because they're Lakers. That's what drives me crazy. And again, the Laker tax is out of this world. Out of this world. It's a real thing, man. It's a real thing. All right. So we covered a couple of things. We covered free agency. We covered potential Russell Westbrook. Is it realistic that he'll be dealt or not? I think it is realistic, but is it likely? Not at the moment. However, remember, the course of the season can change everything. I mean, injuries happen. Teams sometimes need a facelift mid-season. And he's an expiring contract, so he's got to have some sort of a value, right? He said, Dan, I felt bad for Vogel. Yes, he coached terrible at times this past season, but he had literally all offensive coaches on the coaching staff, John Lucas, Fizdale, and Pentberry, and that didn't help. I don't feel bad for Frank Vogel. He came, he lived the dream, he helped win a championship, and he had amazing players doing it. But at the end of the day, man, it is a high expectation to be a Lakers coach. That's why it's not for everybody. That's why the media is always saying it's not a good job. It's a great job as long as you're great at it. But clearly, if you're not at the top of your game, you're going to get exploited. And there's no bigger microscope than the one that resides here in Los Angeles. And again, it's not even for all the players, Again, it's not even for all the players. But, if you have to beg them to be here, like Kobe said, then they don't deserve to be Lakers. Same thing with coaches. We're not going to beg any of these fools. Let's just say Darvin Ham goes to the Charlotte Hornets. Good riddance then. You weren't Laker material. If you picked them over us, that's up to you. But it'd be different if we end up choosing somebody different, right? But you have to be an elite coach to be able to perform properly here in Los Angeles. And again, we've had a handful of those, but not, in our recent history, we've been missing guys like Phil Jackson, Pat Riley. And we're looking for that next big dog. But hopefully somebody young, right, or younger, somebody like Darvin would be perfect. Because let's just imagine we get Darvin Ham and he ends up being a mastermind. And he's our coach for the next 10 years or so, just like Phil Jackson was. And we reign supreme because of that. I mean, one decision could change the course of this franchise. This is why I love basketball. People act like we're down and out because we had a bad season last year. Well, guess what? Next year's a new year, which means everybody starts with a clean slate. Everybody's going to look different, and everybody's going to have a new opportunity. As long as I got LeBron James, Anthony Davis, and a good coach, I like my chances. And, of course, health. Health is important. Any final questions, guys? Always a pleasure, man. Really quick, Major shout out to Price Picks. If y'all haven't checked it out, please do. Download the app, type in promo code DTLF, and they will deposit match you 100% up to $100. So basically, you're playing with free money the first time you play, man. So it's up to you how much you want to do your first deposit with, but definitely don't forget promo code DTLF for that promotion. All right. He said AD, LeBron James, Kyrie, 3 championships or more. Now, one at a time, baby, because every year the NBA changes, so you can never say 3 championships at a time. You know how hard it is to three-peat. We've had stacked franchises like the Warriors talking about they're better than the 2001 Lakers, and they have not been able to three-peat. Thank God, because I did not want to give that title up to them. But I'm telling you, it's really hard to three-peat, man. We say it all the time. Oh, there's a next dynasty, but one at a time, one championship at a time, and we'll go from there. If the pandemic never happened, can you see the Lakers win the championship in 2020? Absolutely. Absolutely. People act like we sucked that year. Listen, we were a top 3 seed going into the bubble. We were playing good basketball. We won over 50 games. Of course, I see us winning a championship. And we had Jason Kidd and Lionel Hollins on the sidelines. Made a huge difference. And we had great vets like Rondo and Dudley, and we were well-rounded. We had some youth. We had guys willing to sacrifice for this team and put the team before themselves, guys like Kuzma. We had great role players like KCP, not to mention LeBron and AD playing peak basketball. Of course, we were going to win that championship because we did win that championship. Listen, people can make whatever they want out of the bubble, but at the end of the day, it all gets settled between the lines. And you can't tell me that winning in a 7-game series is a fluke, no matter if they play in a bubble. I don't care if they play in an arena, in a dome, if they play in the streets, man. Best out of 7 always tells you the truth of who the better team is, period. So, haters can take that to the bank, but I ain't tripping. I know that was a very important championship in our history. It tied us for the most all time, and we did it for Kobe, man. It was a beautiful chip for me. He said, you better praise the Celtics. You better praise the Celtics don't win the NBA championship this year? I will never praise the Celtics. That's number one. But I think you meant I better pray that the Celtics don't win an NBA championship this year. Trust me, man. I am praying that they don't win a championship because that's the last thing I want. I really don't care. Warriors, Heat, or anybody wins a championship except for Boston. So yeah, you're right about that. But yeah, I'll never praise that Gerber baby green ugly ass uniform in my life. Is it for real? People act like the Lakers weren't the number 1 seed for the most part of the year that season. And that year we were dealing with injuries too. And we came together at the right time, man. But people just, oh my God. I swear, people watch too much Skip Bayless and they basically copy and paste what he says and onto their brain and they leak it out into the internet. People cannot think for themselves. The bubble championship was one of the best playoffs championships I've ever seen. It literally took everything from these players. They sacrificed time with their family. They sacrificed entertainment, and they were focused on one thing, basketball. It's the only thing they could focus on, and it was intense. Think of prison ball, right? But except it's not prison. They're living very nicely within those hotels. But bottom line is, it must have been extremely hard to be away from loved ones for months. People don't take that into consideration. And then, again, the only thing they had was basketball. So they were extra focused, and they wanted it even more. So it was a sacrifice everybody made to even go into that bubble. They had to be tested multiple times a day. That was a very important championship in our history. At the end of the day, 10 years from now, only the haters will look back and say that was a bubble championship. When we see those 18, 19, 20 championships hanging from the Raptors, hopefully, we're not going to spot out the bubble one and say, 19 and a half. No, that's not how it works. That's childish. He said, or imagine if the Warriors win it and give Clay Finals MVP. Yeah, I really don't care about the Warriors, man. Like, their style of play bores me, man, believe it or not. Like, okay, Andrew Wiggins' dunk was impressive. That was exciting. But that doesn't happen very often. They just basically run behind screens, shoot threes, get out in transition, shoot threes. It's like I'm constantly watching a three-point shooting contest, even though a lot of the NBA has adapted that format. But, man, I really miss the in-between game, the unpredictability, the above-the-rim dunks and highlights. Like, I miss that brand of basketball. And I wish it was a little more gritty and they weren't, giving everybody every single call and flopping all over the place. So, yeah, man, I'm not a big fan of Golden State for the same reason. Not because they're not talented; they're clearly talented, but the style of basketball, the style of play is just not to my liking. If y'all want to see what it was like in the bubble, watch JaVale McGee's channel. He documented the whole thing. Very inspirational. I did watch. I watched it, man, during the bubble. It was entertaining for sure. I mean, my boy was a YouTube star. There's a couple people there documenting. I think Matisse Thybulle was doing it too. A couple people were. I think I'm not sure Danny Green was. A couple people were doing it, man. So I mean, that's pretty cool. Always. If Luca had boozy fade, he would be able to win this series. You're funny, bro. Um, all I'm gonna say about Luca is he's so good, man. He's so damn good. But again, they're deciding to go small ball, and it's just not working out for them. And he doesn't have a real star next to him. The Warriors have multiples and guys who have been there as well. They have multiple Hall of Famers on that team, guys who have been there. So of course, I expected them to win, but I didn't expect the sweep. If that happens, hopefully it won't. But I expected the Warriors to be in the finals. I said it. I went on my boy. Shout out to my boy Anze Life podcast. I went on there during preseason before the season even started. And he asked me. I said, if the Lakers don't make it, it'll be the Warriors. They're basically my favorites to come out of the West. They felt stacked. Curry was coming back. Clay, Jordan Poole was looking good in preseason. And I assumed James Wiseman would be there. He's not even there yet. So that team is super stacked. They really benefited from Curry having bad ankles his first couple of years, and that has set them up for success for years to come because they underpaid Curry his first contract. A lot of people don't know because he used to have bad ankles and they didn't trust him. And Curry, as soon as he got his next contract, instead of leaving him high and dry, he just took his regular pay and he stayed loyal to them. That set him up. Because of that, they were able to get Kevin Durant. Because of that, they got so many players on discount. Because of that, even with their injuries, they got lottery picks, and they didn't have to trade nothing away to keep competing because of Curry's unselfishness. I wish there were more players in the NBA as unselfish as Curry. All right, because most players, if they would have got lowballed and turned into the best shooter in the history, they would have dipped from that franchise and got revenge on them. Trust me. So the Laker brothers got extremely lucky that Curry, is not a vengeful type, and he didn't keep any sort of grudges against them, and that's one of the main reasons they've been able to stay relevant all these years, man. So that's a major shout out to Curry for being unselfish. Why do I hate the Suns? They're okay. First and foremost, Devin Booker's always trying to pick a fight, especially when he's losing. That's annoying in itself. Y'all got Jay Crowder, one of the biggest floppers and dirty players who does low-key dirty shit. Y'all got Chris Paul, another dirty player who tries to rip people's arms off and shit when he's losing and flops a shit ton. Very crafty, very skilled, but man, the flopping is ridiculous. And I just don't like how cocky Suns fans were acting when y'all beat us due to injuries. And now karma has come full circle. And now you're asking me, but I think you know very well why Laker Nation, not just myself, doesn't really like the Suns, because some people don't know how to act like they've been there before because they haven't. Y'all never won a championship. So clearly, y'all just, you guys were off of that liquid courage and we're talking crazy to Laker fans. Laker fans are royalty, man. We've seen championships, 17 of them to be exact. And it's just one of those things that you try to kick my franchise while we're down. We'll never forget that, man. If y'all act like clowns, we're going to bring the circus. All right. And that's the bottom line, man. That's why we don't like the Suns. The Clippers did the same thing. Look, listen, here's the funny story about the Clippers, bro. I didn't even used to hate the Clippers way back like in 2014, 15, when they were rebuilding and they were the little brother. And, they never disrespected our Laker franchise. I was like, whatever, I don't care. Soon as they fired, what was his name? Donald Sterling for being racist, rightfully so. They fired him, rightfully so. And y'all hired a new owner, or they sold the team to a new owner. And y'all hired Doc Rivers, started covering our banners, disrespecting us, talking about LA our way, talking about it's a new day, talking about the fans. They got all freaking ridiculous and, it's our city and blah, 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 and disrespecting Laker royalty. It's like when fan bases do that and they talk out of their ass and their players follow suit, like y'all had Patrick Beverly talking smack, Paul George lying off the face of the earth, talking about he always was a Clipper fan when he clearly has said he grew up a Kobe fan. Can't be both, man. And then Kawhi Leonard doing the dirty thing he did, waited till midnight, try to like make sure we didn't get good free agents or whatever. And just you could just sense the jealousies from these franchises that ain't never won shit. I don't have no respect for hate, man. It's all you can show love. Like I'm showing Luka Doncic love, and he doesn't play for my franchise. I'm showing Curry love. You know, he's one of the best shooters we've ever seen, if not the best. He is the best. You can show love without hatred, but once you cross that line, you're crossing that line. You got to respect your elders. You got to respect your history, and usually it's it's certain people that say stuff like, oh, you guys are in the past and blah blah blah. Blah. These same clowns I was talking smack when Kobe retired, talking about, oh, you'll never win a championship again, now are saying, oh, that was just a bubble championship. When we win another one, oh, you guys always buy your championships. When we win another one, oh, you guys got lucky. Listen, people that make excuses will always make excuses. But the real ones know. The real winners know that they hate us because they ain't us. We're the greatest. 17 championships, man. I should tell you everything you need to know. So stop acting like a hoe. Like I could just drop bars all day on why I dislike these cocky franchises. 0 championships always tend to have the biggest mouths. You know what I'm saying? And you might say, well, Dan, Laker fans, y'all talk the most shit. We can. We got 17 championships. We're relevant always. Even when we suck, the media has us all over, draped all over their mouth. That doesn't mean we can't be humble at times. We definitely can be humble. But we're going to defend our franchise through thick and thin. That's something you have to get used to. And if you hate us for it, then so be it. Hate us, make us greater. That's just the way it goes, man. But anyways, how y'all feeling, man? How y'all feeling? That pretty much wraps it up for my video. He said, Warriors have the luckiest draft picks ever. They have drafted really well. I don't want to discredit that franchise for that. Yes, I'm not a fan, but I'm not a hater either. They've drafted extremely well. I talk about this with my friends all the time. They really have struck gold with their first-round picks. Like, they drafted Curry. They drafted Clay, right? I couldn't believe that the Minnesota Timberwolves passed on Curry. 2 first-round picks and they passed. But, hey, that's why that guy doesn't have a job no more. David Can. They drafted Draymond Green. They drafted Jordan Poole. I mean, they just keep drafting. They just keep striking gold on these guys. And so as long as the team does that and drafts extremely well, they'll always remain. And, of course, got to have selfless superstars. So that's the way it goes. Anyways, thank you guys so much for tuning in today, man. Appreciate y'all. Much love, Laker Nation. Again, I'm going to keep my ear low to the ground, and I will definitely update you guys on anything worth talking about. Especially we get some breaking news here, man. I'm anticipating the coach hiring here relatively soon. So follow me on Twitter. Also, make sure to turn on those post notification bells. And again, shout out to my sponsor, Prize Picks. I will see you guys on the next one, man. Have a great rest of the evening. Much love. Peace out.